Hey guys, it's me Maro, and yeah, I've been gone for almost a month, what of it? In all seriousness though, I do apologize very greatly since, well, for my entire time on YouTube with this specific channel, I have never really gone this long without making a video, and it kind of feels like I abandoned you guys and left you in the dark for God knows how long, so I'm sorry, I really am. I don't really have much new to say with that side of things though, since episode 5 and school, still working on those. However, I will say that episode 5 is now into the editing phase, fully the editing phase, which means it's coming very, very soon, and I promise this time, I actually do promise. But in the meantime, I've actually been trying to figure out stuff to review, since that 2014 review, 3 weeks ago, it really did a number on me. But after a bit of thinking, I finally have an idea of what I want to review. Just last month, I played through the entirety of Sonic X Shadow Generations. Well, the good half of it at least. And coincidentally, my brother's birthday also came up and one of his friends decided to gift him a Shadow the Hedgehog figure, in which my brother then said that I could review it, so technically I have no relation to this figure. For today's review, I will be reviewing the Jakks Pacific Shadow the Hedgehog figure from Sonic X Shadow Generations. Again, this is not mine, I didn't pay anything for this, I'm just reviewing it. Before looking at this figure though, who is Shadow the Hedgehog? Because even the fanbase probably doesn't even know who he is. Shadow was originally introduced in Sonic Adventure 2 as Sonic's edgy rival. Kinda like how Sonic was Mario's edgy rival, but now Shadow is Sonic's edgy rival. He was originally a bad guy, but turned to be good after the events of Sonic Adventure 2. In his solo game, we learn more about his past, about how he was made as the ultimate life form from Gerald Robotnik, but suffered through great trauma after his best friend Maria gets killed by Gun. Not Gun, I mean she did get killed by a gun, but the organization Gun. It was then shown that he was also made from Black Doom's DNA to cause world domination. Black Doom is basically the equivalent of Satan in the Sonic universe. But Shadow is like literally the power of friendship on his side and continues to thrive with all of his friends. AKA, he gets carried by Omega. In his newest game, or more like side game, we get shown what happens to Shadow in Sonic Generations, because he never really showed up for most of it. We see that he himself is going through his own little mini arc where his past memories come back to haunt him as Black Doom returns to try to destroy the world again. Cause yeah. But through friendship of Shadow and his pals, Gerald and Maria, Rouge, Omega, he defeats Black Doom again and brings us all back to the year 2005.
He grows fucking wings!
And now Shadow continues to be like the best Sonic character ever, and I'm really looking forward to see the future of his games and potential movies he'll have. But for now, let's get on to the actual review, starting with the box and, Shadow's box is, it's okay, I guess? It's very simple, which is good to get the point across of what you're trying to sell, but in terms of the actual character, I will say that a cool thing is that you can open up this little flap in the front to see some art from the game, and along with that, you can actually see the figure on the inside with this clear plastic. But besides that, it does feel like a kid's toy. Which it isn't because it says collector's item, so let's just get this shit out of here and let's bring in the actual figure. Okay, now we're talking. The painting and sculpting on this figure is pretty decent. The figure overall gets Shadow's proportions very accurate, but I will say his fists are a bit smaller than usual and it looks a tiny bit weird. The fists are more proportionate to his movie design, but other than that, he looks very good. I love how his head was designed, with him looking very angry and just pissed off, fitting with his character very, very well. But while we're here at the head, the spines they're kind of meh. The sculpt overall is pretty good, but there's a lot of seam lines all over them, and just looking at them is pretty distracting. Almost like Distractable, link in the description, I'm totally sponsored! Paint-wise, however, I have basically no problems with this figure. All the paint seems to be in the correct places and are, well, the correct colors. He isn't like puke green and has random dry brush splodges on it. Oh, right. In my personal opinion, I think it would have been cool if there was semi-bits of dry brushing to some parts, just to give a bit more depth and shading, and I guess lighting to the figure. Overall, though, he looks pretty good. Definitely not perfect by any means, but good enough to make him seem like an actual high-value figure. But hopefully, that trend can actually continue with how he moves and poses. Shadow in all of his media has done a shit ton of moves and dynamic poses, so hopefully this figure can pull them off as well in very awesome ways. We first have no ball joint at the head. Just a swivel. Alright, review's cancelled. I am actually very, very disappointed by this. Shadow's head... Well, no. Every Sonic character's head is probably the most expressive part of their designs. And even though Shadow isn't really as energetic as some of the other characters in the franchise, he still does, well, a lot. It sucks, but I do get it. There's not a whole lot of room to move his head up and down, so... I don't know, but maybe they could have done a similar system to how his feet are, where they are kind of a hinge joint. I feel like it could possibly work. I don't know, let me know about your thoughts in the comments below, since I'm very conflicted by this. Aside from that little rant though, we got a butterfly joint at the arm can rotate and move out very far actually. The shoulder is on a swivel, the elbow is on a hinge joint that can also swivel, the wrist is on a swivel, and the hand is on a swivel that can kind of move up and down. Surprisingly, the amount of movement here definitely makes up for the lack of that in the head, so I'm actually fairly happy with that. The body is on a pretty limited ball joint, so he can only really swivel all the way around. The legs can move back and forth, swivel here, a bend at the knee, and finally a hinge joint at the shoe which can also swivel. The posability on this guy is fairly decent, but parts like the head, body, and maybe even the shoes are a bit meh for me. Also, the plastic here isn't the greatest, so most parts like the arms and legs tend to flop due to the weight of the hands and shoes, which sucks a bit. But even with all that, he can still stand up pretty easily. He is a bit top heavy with all that knowledge in his noggin, but he can still stand up and perform some dynamic poses pretty well. But now we come to hopefully the coolest part of this figure, that being the accessories he comes with. Yeah, he actually comes with quite a bit of stuff. First, Shadow comes with 2 extra hands. Besides his fist, he has one hand which seems to be grasping something, maybe a Latino chick or something, and the other which is splayed out, almost as if he's doing a chaos spear. You can now maybe see why I say his fists are a bit small, because in comparison to his other hands, Now don't start calling me Yoshikage Kira or anything, but I love these hands. They add so much character and expression to him, and they make him look like he's gonna do a special move or something. Also, if you have like a Chaos Emerald or something, you can probably make him hold it. But it's a shame that he actually doesn't come with one, like the yellow one he had in Generations. Because that would have been a cool accessory, but it's alright, I guess. Next thing he comes with is this thing. At first it might look like, I don't know, legs. But what it actually is an extra spine piece. If you come to the back of Shadow, what is wrong with you? That's kinda gross. You can actually take the spine piece off and replace it with this. But now you might be wondering what these holes are for. And with that, we bring in these. These piles of edgy spaghetti are actually wings. In Shadow Generations, he gets a power-up similar to his super form, but it's edgy and more Black Doom-like powers, because, you know, for some reason Black Doom just gives him the powers in the game, I guess, or I don't know. These things also have their own hinge joints, one right here and one right here, and this one can actually click in. So you can have them be kind of closed up, like he's just walking or something, or spread them out. And once we add them to the back of Shadow here,
oh my god!
These things fuck hard. They not only look amazing, but they're also very, very sturdy. The plastic here in these, I guess, feathers are a bit more softer, which means they're not going to break off anytime soon. Even these spaghetti parts here are sturdy too, which means that overall, these wings are awesome. Oh, right. Yeah, with these wings attached, they kinda drag the figure down a bit, which is a bit meh, but it's fairly understandable. Making an accessory like this is impressive enough, so I do get it. And wait a minute. If I take one of these wings off, leaving the other, does that mean I can... Alright, we gotta move away from these wings, because I've already lost too much. Okay. The final accessory that Shadow comes with is this base here. The design here is rocky with some weird architecture that I probably missed in the game, so leave a comment down below what it is. On the bottom here, you can see 2 little pegs. They are used with the 2 holes on Shadow's air shoes. Man, I forgot to call them that in this entire video. So you can plug him into here, and you can plug him into here, and he kind of looks weird. He's kind of just standing, not really doing anything. So for me, I would actually unplug one of the shoes and pose it in a way that looks a little cooler and I guess a little bit more natural. Also, if you see here on the back of the base, there's what seems to be a clip thing that would clip onto the figure. Yeah, it doesn't work. It doesn't really bother me all that much since you can just prop him up like this, but still, it's kinda dumb. Although one very cool thing about this base is that you actually have some type of accessory storage. If you flip the base over, you can see parts to clip and plug the other pieces in that you're not using. Well, okay, I kinda lied, the wings don't really go anywhere, so yeah, I'm sorry. So yeah, this base is pretty cool, but they gotta work on the connection to the actual figure. But overall though, these accessories are pretty good. I do wish he did come with some more stuff, but for what we got, it's pretty cool. Now let's move on to some size comparisons. Here he is next to the He Toys Godzilla 2014. Yes, he has now replaced 2019. I love him too much. The Neander's Nendroid, the Robot Spirits Avilia 1, the SH Figure Arts Vegeta, because like, come on. And finally, here he is next to the SH Figure Arts Guts, because I had nothing else really edgy enough to compare him with, so yeah, Guts. Now it's time for the price. And for a Jakks specific toy, he's actually a bit more expensive than when I first thought. His retail price I found is around $50, which is quite a bit. The same price as a He figure. I was first thinking that he was going to maybe be like $30 due to the more cheap plastic feel, and I guess the less accessories. But I guess for what he comes with and his size, it makes, I guess, a bit of sense. It is labeled as a collector's item, so I do expect it to be a bit more expensive, but $50 for me is honestly, it just feels like a tiny bit too much. But that's just me. So overall, my thoughts on this figure is a bit mixed, to be honest. For one, I love the way this figure looks and some of the accessories he comes with, but on the other hand, the price, lack of more accessories, and some limited articulation, it kinda brings it down for me a bit. Not saying the figure is bad by any means. It's more like they could have done a bit more to make this figure, you know, a bit better. So if you're a fan of Shadow the Hedgehog, or hell, just Sonic in general, then I recommend picking up this guy if you're fine with only Shadow and the Doomwings. For me, however, I give this figure a decent 7.5 out of 10. Definitely could be worse, but it could also be better. Well, that's about it for this video. I hope you all enjoyed it. Again, I'm sorry for the almost 1 month break without any videos. There's just, you know, stuff's been going on. And at some points I gotta deal with them and put less focus on making videos, but hopefully I can get back into making videos regularly for you guys to enjoy. But until then though, thank you all for watching and sticking around, and I will see you guys in the next video. See you guys later.